So, I know I'm filming this on my phone, and it's probably going to be my very first video that I've ever posted to YouTube, but, just been thinking a lot recently, and there seems to be a lot of information out there on concealed carry, and, some kind of do's and don'ts for it, and, some of them are really well founded, some of them are really good, but I think there's a lot of them that are coming from someone that really doesn't have experience in the, military or law enforcement. I think some of them come from people that are very experienced in military and law enforcement. But I think there's good and bad in everything, and I think the everyday man kind of needs a way to, sort through and find what works for them. So I'm kind of go off of some of the people that I watch. I watch a lot of James Yeager. Shout out to him. I watch a lot of Corey and Erica's videos. I think that Corey is, as far as not having a formal training program, like he's never been through the military or something like that, I think honestly he is one of the best shooters I've ever seen, for not having been, formally like trained or been part of law enforcement or military. So would I take a class from him? Yeah, absolutely. Some of the other people that I like to watch, Military Arms Channel, Mac over there, the people that everybody watches that are really common as far as the YouTube gun community. Iraq Veteran 8888. That's another huge one. But I was just kind of thinking about a couple small things that I'd like to throw out there. One of them would probably be this whole you have to carry every day, and you have to have this whole EDC system, like everyday carry system, and you see people pulling stuff out of there, nothing fancy. Throw a shout out to him, he's a huge culprit of this. You see people, I personally think, this isn't the case for nothing fancy because he really does it, but I think some of the people we see on YouTube that throw out this everyday carry thing, that they're not necessarily truthful with what they're putting on the table when they do their, pocket dump. You're seeing people with like 4 pen lights and 3 multi-tools and a gun, and then a backup gun, and then another backup gun, and then they have a gun in their car. Like, you just see a lot of really ridiculous things. And I think the everyday man kind of needs to just, decipher through that and realize that that's not necessarily really what you need to do. Do I believe that going out every single day and having your gun off on you as often as possible is a good thing, and that more guns in the hands of armed, law-abiding, concealed carry permitted citizens is a good thing? Hell yeah, absolutely. For me, for one, when I first kind of decided, like, hey, I am going to carry a gun every single day on my person, is when the Aurora, Colorado shooting happened. And I was just thinking, like, wow, man, I really like to go see movies, I'm one of those people that I generally don't go till 10, 11 o'clock at night. That's not to say someone were to shoot up the movie theater, but what happens if I walk outside and there's an altercation, something like that? Like, it just kind of showed to me that it can happen anywhere to anyone, and you don't want to be a victim. So do I carry a gun every single day when I can? Yes, absolutely. Now, I live in Pennsylvania. I work in Jersey for the most part. That's changing now, but I worked in Jersey for the last year and a half. So bringing a gun on with me, across the bridge in New Jersey is completely illegal and could land me 10 years in jail. So the gun stayed home. And that's just what it is, I mean, so for one, you have to do it within your means. That's one of the things I like to touch on is, we do want constitutional carry. We'd like to get this concealed carry reciprocity bill passed. That's huge, but you have to do it within your means. If you can't carry a gun where you're going, making your living is more important than bringing your gun to work with you or bringing it to a state that you can't obviously go into. That was huge for me, but it is what it is. Another one of the things that I always see is, when going back to the EDC carry thing, like I said, with these huge pocket dumps, I just don't think it's reasonable. I think carry what you can on your means. For me, I kind of realized that a lot of bad things that were to happen generally are going to happen at night in a low light situation, and it's good to have maybe something that you can do really simple on your everyday carry gun. Get a set of night sights. That's a huge one. Just get a set of night sights. You don't need, all this fancy flashlight, fancy this, fancy that, for what you're doing. Just get a set of night sights. You can pull them up. You can, draw down on that front sight and make your shot. I mean, that's a big one. Another thing you can do is, instead of carrying 14, 15 different, pen lights and stuff, I just have a real small 511 flashlight, It fits into that like a little pocket on your normal everyday jeans. I don't wear none of those 511 Tac Light Pro bullshit. I don't do that. It fits into the little pocket of your jeans, you know, like a pair of Levi's. It'll fit in there. You can wear it, and you don't even notice it. You can sit down. It doesn't get in the way. It doesn't bother you. So that's a big one. Another thing that I see people talking about is with the everyday carry thing is they're carrying like multi-tools and stuff. That would be cool. Maybe like a little Leatherman Juice, like the real small one, you know, something like that, or like a little mini, you know. I would carry one of those, but I find that they break a lot, and they're generally not going to be good for what I'm doing. So the only time you really see me carrying a multi-tool around on my belt or a multi-tool in my pocket is when I'm in uniform, and I'm going out on a drill, something like that. So as far as having a blade on you, yeah, you can carry a little Leatherman Juice multi-tool, something like that. But a lot of the time, you know, like I said, I'm in Pennsylvania. If you go into Philadelphia, you can't have a folding blade. So if I ever find myself doing that, now part of my EDC kit has to get left home. So what I'm kind of getting at is just be realistic with what you're doing. I don't necessarily carry a blade with me every single day. I do have a multi-tool that has, you know, a blade and everything like that on it. A file, you know, a pair of scissors in my car if I need to go grab it and do it, I have it. Otherwise, a perfectly normal pair of scissors at the workplace will do everything else for you. I don't see the need to carry a multi-tool every single day. One thing that Corey touches on that would be really good to carry, if it's not too much for you, is maybe a little something for first aid. Like you said, if you have the ability to take life or to injure, you should have the ability to save life and to, try to patch somebody up as best that you can. That's another one. Another thing that we touch on with EDC is you see people carrying like full-size Glock 17s. You see people carrying like 5.5-inch M&P Pro cores with a friggin' Trijicon sight on there. You don't need to do any of that. I mean, you don't need a 5-inch barrel. You don't need a 15-round magazine. Not that I want to say that that's not a good thing. More ammo is always good. You should definitely have the right to have your 50-round drums, your 100-round mags, your 33-round Glock rounds. You should have the right to have anything that you want, as far as I'm concerned. But you don't need, a huge full-size gun. Sometimes we'll catch people carrying full-size guns and say, hey, you need a bigger gun because you get more magazine capacity and blah, 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 blah. What I always say, and I think there's a couple people out there as well that'll say this, is carry something that's big enough for you to handle comfortably, but small enough to where you feel comfortable concealing it every single day and it doesn't get in the way of what you wear. For me, I have a full size. It doesn't work for me. I'm 5'9", 170, 180 pounds. I'm a pretty thin guy. I'm not skinny. I have a lot of muscle, but I'm thin compared to some of the bigger guys that are above 200. My buddy he's getting his first concealed carry gun. He just got his permit. He's 6'4", 230, 240. I mean, he has the size to where he can carry a Glock 17 if he wanted to. I necessarily don't. So what I do is I carry an M&P Shield. I carry Appendix. I have it with me every single day. It works very well. It's not something where I need to be fooling around with, and it's comfortable for me. So that's generally what I do. One of the things that I really liked was Corey's video that he put out from Corey and Erica. His video he put out on everyday carry and the kind of the do's and don'ts for it. It's kind of where I'm going with this video, way less informal though. One of the things I want to touch on that's kind of, I think, a little bit too much out there is they come up with like all this gear. Gear's going to make you better. Gear's going to make you better. Gear's going to make you better. I don't think that they'll say that. They'll say, oh, gear makes you a better shooter. I don't think any of them would say that. But what I think is that they get a little bit too extreme with like, oh man, you need a solid belt and you need this and that. Yeah, obviously the whole point is you don't want to have your gun falling down your ass when you're going to reach for it. But at the same time, you don't need to be walking around with a rigid Cobra belt with a Cobra buckle and all that stuff. I mean, you don't need that. I have a belt from American Eagle that I wear with my Levi's jeans, and it holds up my M&P Shield perfectly. I'll stand up and show you guys. There it is, right there. M&P Shield. Got a nice Blade Tech clipped holster. It's an American Eagle belt, and if I do that, it's concealed perfectly fine with jeans and a t-shirt. So that's another major point. I don't think you need all like the ridiculous ridiculous things. They're not ridiculous to have a good belt, but I don't think you need all of the, I'd say, accoutrements that everyone says that you do. This is just kind of my own opinion on things, and it's just my everyday man mentality. I just think that someone kind of needs to dispel through what's real and what's not. Can't say I've been carrying for 40 years like some of these people. Can't say, you know, I've done special operations or anything like that. But you know what? U.S. Army infantryman. Got some experience there with, you know, some good training. In my battalion sniper section. So that's another good thing. So I can shoot somewhat. You know what I mean? So going to be going to school here pretty shortly. Going to be going to Small Arms Master Gunner School here really shortly, so I'll get some even more training from what I have already. You know, I'm a huge Second Amendment supporter. I think you guys should definitely do everything you can in your power to carry every single day, but just know what's feasible and what's not. That's all. Alright, first video. Might post it, might not. We'll see what happens. Alright, thanks guys.